Yo, Rockstar, how's it going? Welcome. All right, sorry guys. I'm a little unprepared for you, but that's okay. It was a great day, great day. I had to make sure the AC kicked on just as the music was going. I'm like, you're gonna catch it. So I had to go turn it off real quick. And in-ears are not as easy to put on as just headphones, or they are easy, just not as quickly as headphones. Or maybe I'm just out of practice. That's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello. My name is Josafat Emiliano. This little guy here is Miguel, and you are now watching Hey Rockstar. It is a show, a storytelling platform designed to empower you, encourage you, motivate you to pour into your lives, take value, add to your disciplines, so that then you can go and become the rock star of your industry. Welcome. I have a very special guest for you guys today, and we are going to go straight into it. It is episode, I might repeat it. All right. First thing I got to tell you before I do the intro, my guest is on the other side of the globe, and his time zone was very different. So we decided to get together to pre-record this message or this story time, and I got the video right here. Let's see. I don't want to take too much more time. Shh, not yet, Hosa, not yet. So it's there. It's standing by. It's ready. Actually, let's do it this way. I like it when it's there. You can see more of me, less of him. But all that to say is it was a great interview. Go ahead and add anything you want to the chat. I will be still here listening to everything live, making sure that I'll answer your comments and such. But I'm not going to take any more time. I love saying that, or maybe I should stop saying, because I'm not taking any more of your time. I'm giving you of my time. So without any further ado, let's go on and start with the show, y'all. Because today we have a guest. It's actually is my first guest to get from another country. And I'm excited because we're doing a little time difference. So, and because of the time difference, we're doing something a little different. But again, this rock star has really impressed me from the little time that I've known him. He is a rock star when it comes to dating and relationships. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you better turn on your ears. You better get the notebook out. And if you have any questions, just put them in the chat. Well, if we don't have time during the show, definitely we will answer you later. But this next individual, just a great guy that I'm now starting to get to know. He's coming to us all the way from the other side of the pond, and I'm excited to have him here. So once again, this is episode 33, interview with a rock star. And ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you now Edward Daniels. Come on in, my friend. Boom. How you doing today, Edward?
Dude, I'm doing amazing. That was a sick intro. I mean, I felt like Bruce Buff was there or something.
All right. How's it going over there where you're at?
Yeah, man, it's good here. It's really, really nice. It's, still cloudy, but at least it's not raining. So, that's a plus for here. It's always fucking raining. But yeah, man, it's all good. How about you?
Well, right here in Nashville, it's nice and sunny right outside. We had some rain earlier, or actually last week. We're just waiting for our springtime to show up, but winter just doesn't kind of want to leave us yet. And I'm okay because I like colder weather, and I do like rain weather. I just don't want to be cold and wet. Get me? But other than that, I live in the city of rock stars. What else could I say, brother?
Yeah,
But so Edward, my guests don't know this because I haven't really said it, but you are from the UK. We're not gonna go into details, but you're just close to London area, right?
yeah, literally, that's the only place anyone knows, really. I'm like, oh, near London. Near London.
Us Yankees, that's all we know, guy.
Pretty
Well,
well.
but other than that, so if you don't mind, would you just mind sharing us a little bit about your journey and where you're at today?
Yeah, dude. So it's been a crazy journey. For me, it started when I was younger. I've always worked out. That was the first kind of discipline that really worked out for me. I would actually work out every single night since I was 12 or whatever. But then for me, the real development started when I was around 16, 17. I realized that while I had this pretty great physique, I've been working out for a while. I noticed I wasn't getting results with girls or with relationships I wanted. And I was wondering because I thought that I had the looks or I had the physique, and I was thought that was what was going to get me results. And it was only when I started to realize and do a bit of research myself that that was only a tiny equation and really didn't do anything for results with girls and success with women. So on this crazy journey, and it started with just putting myself out there, going out and approaching. And literally at this point, I was 16, 17. So in the UK, you can go to clubs and bars at 18, but
Oh
still,
wow.
I was too young for that. So I would literally go and meet girls at my college, what we call sixth form here in the UK. And I would go up and I would talk to them. I would start a conversation. I would see if I could take it anywhere. And at the start, it was absolutely terrible. At the start, I could barely get a word out. I was so nervous. I was like, hey, and it didn't go well. But it slowly built that confidence, built that confidence, built that confidence. I got invited to more parties, started working more and more on these skills, started getting better and better and better until I eventually turned 18 2 years ago now. And I would do the same thing at clubs. And this point, I would be going to clubs. I would go sober because I didn't want to do it with alcohol and have that fake confidence. I would go sober, and I would literally go out, approach, meet new girls, meet new girls, meet new girls, meet new girls, putting myself in those kind of uncomfortable situations, but really growing myself as a person. Eventually, from there, I found a bunch of amazing mentors. I actually ended up getting really into meditation,
Mm.
especially over the last year and a half, been doing around an hour to 2 hours a day. And that was where I had the most growth was before, while I'd been pushing myself externally, it always relied on momentum. I'd go out, I'd get into some sort of social momentum where eventually I would just block out those thoughts, those fears, that kind of stifleness getting in the way. But when I started doing meditation, I realized that I didn't need to do 50 approaches or 25 approaches. I could just go out, be confident, relaxed, and just spread and be authentic and get really good results if the energy was right. When I was doing a lot of this meditation, that just became more and more normal for me to go out to a club or go out to a venue or even just go out into the street and meet a girl and have a great experience. And it was that shift from trying to do stuff to just being naturally attractive through meditation, just being authentic as much as possible because you're not going to connect with everyone, but being able
Yeah.
to connect with the people that you are meant to connect with and swaying some people. What I found was I had the most growth over that year and a half, and able to build a business, able to really transform my life with meditation, an hour, 2 hours a day. And yeah, dude, that's been the main journey over the last few years, and it's been crazy but amazing.
Wow. Okay. So you just gave me a lot to start work with. Well, I'm not even sure we can get to the question there because these are just regular questions that jumped out to me just listening to you. So the first thing you're talking about just getting the numbers in, and we've heard that, and I'm sure everyone who has ever been in the dating market or still in the dating market and has looked on YouTube videos and tried to find out. That's the one thing everyone says. Well, you just got to get the numbers. Dating is a number game. Where did was that something that just kind of came to you, or were you given that advice that you got to get 100 no's before you get that one yes?
Literally did a little bit, but it was more, I'd look on YouTube. That's where I got all my advice, and it'd be like guys like a guy by the name of James Tusk was the first one, and then more into people know as real social dynamics and more moving into a different industry now, but they're obviously the big leaders when it came to dating. And I would just watch their videos over and over again. And the biggest thing they would always be about taking action, not just
Mm.
go out for 100 times to find a girl who's going to like you. It's much more about going out 100 times to develop yourself. So that when you go out that 101st time, you're going out, you're confident, you're relaxed. You've been through those situations. You've been through a time where they've completely rejected you. You've been through a time where it's felt a bit awkward. You've been through a time where the boyfriend turns up or turns out she's a lesbian, and you're just like relaxed throughout it. And it's just about getting that under your belt so that it's almost like you see these like black belts when it comes to like Brazilian jiu-jitsu or judo, and you can just feel they've been through all those experiences. And I haven't definitely to that great degree with some people who have been in this industry for 10 years, but
Mm.
at least for what I was doing for years, going out, putting myself in those situations, you start to get more confident, more resilient, and able to just be authentic in yourself without that fear that of being rejected, that fear of not being good enough, kind of stifling your communication.
Oh, for sure. One of the talks that I have is you have not because you ask not, so just ask. And I'm actually revamping that to or remodeling that to get what you want and need as a rock star, or to become the rock star. And in this, one of the things I highlight is we have a fear of rejection, but a lot of people don't quite grasp. There's so many reasons why they say no to you. It's not necessarily always you. You know the whole adage,
Yeah.
it's not you, it's me. I like saying, well, baby, it's not me, it's you. The kind of situation whenever some kind of rejection happens, because I realize they're maybe they're just not ready, or they are in a happy relationship, or it could be any countless reasons. But one of the stories that I share, and this really has nothing to do with relationships, but it has to do with life in general. In university, one of the main valuable lessons that I learned from one of my professors, he said, "What is a grade? You know, a letter, it's a number, but that grade is not who you are. It is simply our opinion as professors on the work that you provided, but that doesn't identify you." And I'm like, that freed me from the burden of performance that I had to do. I had to excel in school for the sake of making the grade. Is more like, I want to experience. You know, I'll learn a lot, whether I do good or bad, whether I play around too much, skip classes, and go to the mess hall, whatever. But either way, it's all a learning experience. Because at the end of the day, what I learned, the one thing I learned in college is just there to teach you how to go out and find answers for yourself. That pay that much money just to learn that lesson, and now we have that the adage. But let's move forward to what really had impressed me to you. I mean, the dating stuff is cool, and I love the dating life that I have. But right now, mentally, I'm not seeking one person. I am just because I'm building my business, so I'm just casually dating here and there. I meet a pretty person, we go for coffee, get to know each other. If it works out, cool. But I want to get to the way I first met you was you introduced yourself as a meditation coach.
Yeah.
That's something I started dealing with recently. Well, at least a year. Entering definitely during the pandemic, I got
Mm.
more to the meditation because I was spending a lot more time alone. My job at the time kind of forced me to work from home, but what I do, I used to work in the industry. I was a techno director for a stage here, Broadway shows, all that fun stuff. But what I did, I can't really do any work at home other than just watch videos on how to tie knots and such. But you can only do that so long. So I spent a lot of time just pouring into myself, writing down my meditations is just a lot of question asking and writing it down. And then I'll take that moment to just rest. But when was it that you realized, I mean, at a young age, when was it that you realized I need to just stop trying to look on the outside for answers, and let me start looking on the in?
Yeah, dude, that's amazing. Really good question. I just wanted to touch base one thing you said about the university stuff, and that's so true. My brother, he's actually going through his A levels, which is, I think that's similar to, like, I don't know, your SATs. I
Mm,
have no idea what it's correlated to. And he's kind of stressed. He's real smart, a little bit smarter than me in academic stuff. And I was like, at the end of the day, while you are really smart, your results will be a combination of tons of different factors. It'll be the luck on the day, how you show up for a professor, that kind of thing. And defining yourself by them, like you said, is not a good thing to do, because it will actually just drop that self-esteem, and it doesn't help anyone. But what you were saying about the meditation stuff, yeah, dude, that was, I mean, obviously I went out and I got some cool results with girls, but I started to realize that whenever I would get one result, then I would just want an even better one. I would want even more. And I started to notice, even with business, that, well, the same thing was kind of happening. It was on a smaller scale than it is now, but it was still happening. I started to realize, well, what am I doing this for? Am I doing this for some life in the future? But I imagine when I am there, I'll probably just want something else.
mm,
And I started realizing that I needed to go and do this meditation stuff. And for some reason, I just had this feeling that meditation was the right thing to do. And I just started doing it an hour, 2 hours a day, and really diving into it. It was really, really, tough at first to sit for that long. A lot of people, they can't do it. I coach my clients. I always get them to do meditation. The hardest thing is getting them to do it. It's not about some technique or doing it the correct way. It's just getting and sitting down for 25 minutes, about an hour, about 2 hours, and your brain and mind is always going to tell you every single reason you shouldn't do it. But the only thing you can do is put yourself in those situations, that time every single day, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it ends up being, even if it's 20 minutes, 10 minutes, but for consistency over a long period of time, I've had most crazy revelations. My life has changed dramatically. But more importantly, the way I'm able to show up and the way I'm able to feel consistently has changed. Being less attached to when I have a great result, cool. I get some excitement and I notice that the emotion comes up. When I get a bad result, I notice that I get some anxiety and the emotion comes up. But what I've noticed more and more is they're very similar. Excitement's kind of similar to anxiety. It's very similar feeling. So why am I getting attached to the good, the excitement, and being resisting the bad, anxiety? Why don't I just try and not attach myself to either? I noticed that when anxiety and excitement comes up, I'm just able to be like, oh, that's cool, it's come up. I had a good result today, that's cool. I had a bad result yesterday, that's okay. And then I'm way less attached to the bad because I detach myself from the good. And this stuff I'm learning more and more as I go with meditation. But I notice for my quality of life and just the way I'm able to show up and enjoy my life is 10 times better. And it was just a weird calling, but just decided that I needed to put some time in for meditation. I don't even know how it started, but it was just something there. And I think you only know when you're ready.
Yeah.
I can't, I've got family members, friends, and I do tons of meditation all the time. And I'm always like, oh, it's so good. And when I was really starting, I was like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. But they're not ready. No matter how good it is, they're not ready. And that's okay. They'll be ready at some point in the future, just not right now. That's okay.
When I first started, I tried the 5 minutes, and my mind's just very active and just wants to go. And and then eventually I got to 10 minutes, and then 20, 25 minutes tend to be what I could at least schedule in the day, first thing in the morning. Because I'm a believer that if I can get up early in the morning, 5, sometimes 4:50 in the morning, get my workout routine done, get everything ready, and then just have that time where I can just sit and think of nothing, just let my mind rest. And I love it because usually once I'm released that, ideas just start flooding in, and it's been a powerful moment. But here's something: maybe to me is a form of meditation. For others, it could just be a distraction. I love driving. I love just being on the road and going. And over here we have hills, and I used to have an Audi A5, 6 speed, and I would just love driving that because something about being engaged with your car as you're commuting, you just you just I don't know, you're not worried and you're not distracted. You're one with your car and you just kind of driving the road. But whenever I do long trips, whenever I just go and hit the highway, any like 2 3 hours just to do a long trip, I'm one of those weird guys who I don't turn on the radio, I don't turn on music. I believe BB King said it in his book. He listens to the rhythm of the road. And it just that constant dun, 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 dun. And I'm just sitting there, and honestly, to me that's almost in a meditative state. Although I'm conscious of where I'm going, I'm paying attention to I'm driving, but my mind is just resting. And some great revelations have come to me in those moments of just dun, 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 dun. I mean, maybe that's, I'm not sure. I've always appreciated that time as well as my alone time. But I'm not sure if you know of different forms of meditation, or does it have to be in sincere silence with no distraction whatsoever?
Yeah, dude. I mean, as much as our ego wants us to only meditation to be when you're on some like slab of rock sitting cross-legged in the what do they call it position in like
Long hair and
yeah like
incense going in the
whatever.
background.
Meditation's like something that meditation is just the practice of trying to be present in a way, right?
Mm.
It's not something you
Oh,
can do, right? Being present is something that you can just kind of allow. Okay. So when you're meditating, you're kind of like putting the process in to give yourself the best chance of being present. It's almost like, say, you go fishing, you might throw the fish in there, you put some bait on it, you're giving yourself the best chance to catch fish. But at the end of the day, it's not 100%. Some days you meditate and don't be present. Some days you're like in some amazing state. And the more you do it consistently, the more you'll get those results. But it's not something that's limited to sitting down. You can do walking meditations, you can do speaking meditations. The way I get a lot of my clients to get results in dating is to almost talk and speak to women in a meditative state. They might be aware of their body while they're speaking to someone. For you, it's when you're driving, being aware of the sound of the road and not having that focus. not allowing your mind to wander. You probably get thoughts, they come, they go, they come, they go. This is the nature of the mind. It's never going to not be the nature of the mind. But the practice of meditation is just not being attached to that. And
Mm.
what you find is when you give yourself a bit of space, like you said, you get these amazing revelations when you're driving. It happens during meditation. It happens even when you're just doing some form of walking meditation. A lot of people, they find that if they walk in nature, their mind just shuts off a little bit. It's almost more of a natural meditation where they're just suddenly not thinking so much. They see a beautiful sunset, and all they're focusing on, all they're aware of is that sunset, is being there now, being present, and not the kind of irritating thoughts of the mind that come and go and come and go and come and go. And I think for you, you said that it's when you meditate and everyone is nature or whatever, but getting away from that idea that meditation has to be a certain way all the time, and instead of realizing that wherever you are, you can be in that state and trying to put yourself and just notice your thoughts or focus on something, whether it's a sound or whether it's your breath. You can allow yourself to be more present throughout the day and not just the time you're meditating, and you'll have better results and a more quality of life, I would say.
No, that is so good. He just dropped some Rockstar gold, y'all. There, you need to be present, and a lot of us aren't. We're especially now with today's society where there's just so much instant gratification or instant entertainment that's just thrown at us in little bits, and we're trying to capture it all, and we just kind of miss living in life. I honestly think I have a superpower because of this practice. That if something is happening in just I'm like emotions are stirred up where the temptation in the past was to just kind of give into the negativity and react to it. I can actually step out of myself and say, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? Why are you feeling this way? What's affecting you? And like mentally I'm out of myself, just looking at the situation. And then once I see what it really is, it's just a noisy little bug, and I'm like, okay, cool, we'll deal with it, but don't let this control your emotion. And then I can come back and become the stoic person that I'm trying to become in the situation, and it comes off as stronger, it comes off as confident. I don't know, I just that's why I say I feel like I have a superpower thanks to this practice of just being present in the moment, knowing who I am, knowing my value, knowing my identity, and then going off from there. Another fun thing, and I know it's I'm supposed to be interviewing you, but you're bringing out good stuff for me that I'm already thinking to myself, this is gonna be
No,
future content when it comes to relationships, or not so much relationships, when it just comes to the talking to the opposite sex, because I have female people who are watching this and they want advice for how to talk to guys,
yeah,
but I love it because I'm having a conversation. I'm just a natural conversationalist. I love talking to people, but at the same time, because I am aware of myself and what I'm feeling, although we're talking in my subconscious, I'm also kind of looking at I'm observing. All right, what kind of body language is she showing me? Well, if I say this, how does she react? Why is she reacting that way? Or I'll start becoming experimental and purposely do something that's quirky, weird, just to see how they react. And depending on whether it's a positive reaction or negative reaction, I realize, all right, I can be dumb and this girl still is into me. Well, this is a pretty good person to kind of continue on. Whereas no matter how cool or smooth, this girl's just all about herself. You can see the attitude. I'm like, all right, you know what? I don't need to waste any more energy because why do I want to give if nothing's going to be?
yeah,
It's just, I don't know. It's fun to have that conversation. And although I'm having this conversation in another level, I'm totally taking what's the word, field reports. I'm totally taking an analysis of what's going on and how everyone else is reacting of everything. Have you found yourself in that situation because of your infallibility?
yeah, dude. I totally feel you. And obviously, for me, I work with clients. I have, so there's part of me that's always analyzing any social situation. I'm like, what happened there? What happened there? And these kind of things, right? But you're definitely right. You said the big key thing that I picked up what you were just saying was you want to be with someone where you can be a little bit quirky, you can be yourself, and they're going to not judge. They're going to be kind of cool. Because what I noticed is just both for men and women, the people who are potentially most insecure or most worried about these kind of things, they usually put on this front, very tight and very up thing, and no, you can't do that, and no, that's weird, or that's weird, and they're very judgmental. And usually that's just kind of, you know, um, a mirror to their inner world, right?
Mm.
And you spoke about both people for both sexes, for women trying to find guys, for guys trying to find women. What I've found is that when you focus on trying to be completely authentic in yourself, right? One of the most general advice is just be yourself. And that's good advice,
What does
but
that
it's
mean?
powerful. Yeah, literally, most guys, they're like, be myself, but they're just basing this on their fluctuation emotions, of that feeling of neediness and not being enough. And their kind of maybe wound from when they were younger is completely like making up who they believe their self is, right? However, when we kind of heal ourselves, when we kind of get rid of a lot of that insecurity, a lot of that fear, a lot of that lack of confidence, then being ourselves is actually a positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this general mainstream advice of be yourself is great if it was actually put into good context of be yourself from the right place, be yourself from a state of groundedness, natural confidence, of getting rid of your own insecurities and going through those processes like meditation. This term shadow work is also brought up, can be really powerful for diving in when you have insecurities, fears, those kind of things, and being yourself from that state where you're able to be grounded, where you're able to be confident, where you're able to be present. You have amazing results and you'll connect with the right people. You're not going to connect with everyone, but that's the state of being authentic. You can't be fake and try and connect with people at some level, or you can be authentic and connect with people to an amazing degree.
Mm.
But you should connect with everyone. That's okay. The problem with be yourself comes in is if someone's run by anxiety, run by fear, then being themselves might involve just not talking to anyone, being a bit needy, coming off as low value and insecure. And that's not attractive to anyone, even if they're quote unquote being themselves. It's just coming from a wrong place. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it does. But you said something that I haven't heard before. You said shadow working, or what is it
Oh, yeah.
called?
So, I mean, this is on the cusp of my knowledge, right? So,
Oh,
I,
okay.
I'm surrounded by some amazing people
Don't give
who,
away all your stuff because we want to send your, we want to give you potential clients.
but I'm surrounded by some amazing people who were literally going through this idea of shadow work. Now, shadow work, what it's basically is when we're younger, throughout our life, we have experiences that could be considered traumatic. Even when
Uh,
you're in that 0 to 8 bracket where you might be in a supermarket or whatever, and your parents leave, and this is one always used as an example, you might feel incredible terror or incredible fear, like that 10 out of 10 fear that perhaps now you'd only feel if like you were attacked by a bear or something, right?
mm,
So it would be then taken as trauma, something that is now embedded with your in your psyche and not healed. They would call it fractured. A shadow part of yourself is fractured. Now, shadow work is the basis, and there's a few ways you can do it. Completion Process is an amazing book all about it. Shadow work is just integration of these shadows, where we start becoming whole ourselves. You might notice that in certain situations you would be triggered or you would have an overreaction to a certain stimulus, right? For me, I found this all the time in tons of different situations. And I would just ask myself, is this a natural reaction? Because there are certain natural reactions to lots of stimulus. Being angry, being anxious, being fearful, they're okay in certain stimulus, certain situations. But an overreaction, you might just clock and notice, well, why did I overreact? And then doing the completion process, you might go into that, dive into it, and you might find something out of what something happened when you were younger or something happened more recently. And you're actually not reacting based on that situation, but you're reacting based on a perceived situation because of previous experience. And shadow work, like much of inner work, just allows us to heal ourselves so that we're coming from that present grounded state and we're really just a happy, whole, complete person, which is naturally attractive.
gotcha. So that's kind of I didn't know that was the term, but that's what the practice that I use whenever I notice that emotions are high in a certain situation. I have to kind of get myself out of myself to ask the questions: why is this affecting me? What is triggering this kind of situation? Yeah. Okay. Cool. No. Perfect. No. That's a cool. I definitely want to learn more on this. All right. Let's move on to the dating stuff. If there's a theory out there that I've been hearing in a lot of these dating circles or dating coaches and videos, and I hear two different thoughts on this, but I'm kind of leaning in more on this. Are you familiar with the work by an author named Rollo Tomasi?
Yeah, I've heard of him. I've
All
not
right.
dived into his stuff too deep, so
He wrote a book called The Rational Male, but what caught my
yeah.
attention, of course, because of my faith, that he just released one called Rational Male Religion, and
Mm,
how it just but in the first book, The Rational Male, the very first chapter talks about oneism, like the myth of there's only one for you, and being of course, in my growing up. And of course, I have a video talking about how my religion, my views on my faith have changed drastically from the way I grew up, because what I was believed in the time was what was taught to me, not necessarily what I have deemed to be my truth. But but of course, what was taught to me is that there is only the one, or just in relationships, what is it? Is it true? Maybe, or maybe you can debunk it. Go for it. Is it true that men waste too much time with that mythology, or just that dream that there's the one girl who's the perfect girl for me, and I need to pursue this girl no matter what?
yeah, that's so true. Guys fall way into that myth, right? And listen, there's two sides. So there's the one, there's one girl for me, and then there's the side that every girl is okay for me as long as she's beautiful. That's fine, right? Both are, I think, are wrong. Right? I think there's a balance, right? There's
Yeah.
at this point in your life, right? This will change as you develop as a person, as you do things such as meditation, increase your vibration, whatever you want to call it, and start changing as a human being. That's going to change. But
Yeah.
you will have periods of your life, and for you, where certain girls will resonate with you more, where you'll be attracted to certain girls, and it might have that one like attraction. But the reality is, there's plenty of girls who will resonate with you in that way. There's a bunch of amazing girls who will resonate with you in that way, right? So it doesn't mean that every girl is right for you, but it doesn't mean that there's one girl right for you.
Yeah.
So we sometimes put ourselves into these traps where you have this girl and there's just one beautiful girl and there's that story, and in your mind you think she's right for you, but usually it comes from scarcity and fear. It comes from
Yes.
not being
Yes.
on your own. It comes from not having other options, and it comes from fear that you're not enough. However, when you get rid of these, you start to realize you can connect with everyone. You can have beautiful experiences with everyone, right? You're going to resonate more with some people. Some people you might not resonate with at all. That's okay. You can still have love for them. You can still wish them the best, right? But you're going to resonate more with some people. You're going to resonate more with less people. With not going to resonate with some other people, right? But there's not this one girl or one person that's right for you. There's a lot of amazing girls. There's a lot of amazing people, for girls as well. There's a lot of amazing guys that are right for you. And instead of worrying about this person or being obsessed with this person, which actually draws people away from you, if
Hmm.
you're very obsessive, if you're needy, unless they're kind of in a bad place themselves, they won't be attracted to that. And if they are, you probably don't want that kind of person in your life, because you'll both bring each other down. You get into these really codependent relationships that aren't good at all. However, when you start working on yourself, you get to a point where you're internally validated. You get to a point where you realize you can have amazing friendships where there's true love there. You can have amazing relationships, whether that's casual or long term.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, if the relationship does end with someone long term, even monogamous, while that is tragic and it may take a little bit of time to get over, there is plenty of other people for you. There's plenty of amazing experiences in your life. And also, when you do have someone that you really resonate with, it may only be for a year. It may be for 2 years. It may be for an extended period of time. You may grow out of that relationship, and that's okay. You may grow together. I think often people who have long-term relationships are successful just because they grow together. But don't be afraid if you're growing and your partner is not, and they refuse to go there. It's okay to leave. It's okay to allow yourself to meet quote unquote better people, people who are more in with that newfound vibrational match. And instead of falling into this, there's just one girl or there's every girl is right for you, just allowing yourself to be completely healthy and be internally validated, and you'll find the right people. You don't have to search for them or obsess over
I'll climb the highest mountain for you. I'll swim the deepest ocean. I wrote a song like that once when I was young, and thought I could romance someone with song and poetry. And not to say that's a bad thing, because if you find the one that I like to, okay, I simplified actually, someone reached out to me not too long ago and basically said, hey, would you be open to us setting you up on a date? And like, honestly, right now I'm focused on this. Or they're asking me if I was actively dating. Like, well, I'm busy building my business right now, but I'm open to meet new people. And they're like, okay, well, what are you looking for? And I'm like, you know what? Instead of giving them a list of all these attributes, I simplified it for them, like just 3 things. First of all, is she nice? Second of all, is she feminine where it matters? And third, is she ride or die? If you can find me a girl like that, I would give her a chance.
Yeah.
And then she goes, that's such a simple recommendation. Like, it's simple yet hard. But
Mm.
that's just because I know that that type of person can pretty much adapt to, or I can adapt to anything because, or not so much adapt. I am about my way. I am going on this adventure. And if this
Yeah.
person can fit these 3 qualities, they will fit in perfectly no matter their background, whatever, especially the ride or die part. I think that's the most important part because they will show that they're on for the adventure and it's gonna be fun and I'll transfer to this. Anyway, I don't know why I was going with that tangent other than that was interesting. But going back to the dating, and here I'm just trying to think what kind of questions that some of our audience would be interested in knowing more of. We were talking about there's no such thing as one, and okay, you know what? Maybe if we get to the last questions that I normally like to ask my guests. Let me see what questions we were going to focus on. You know what? Here's one thing that if you don't mind telling us a little bit about, in what you think about the state of the dating industry today.
Yeah,
Did I
dude.
lose you, my man?
So that's a really good question. And what I've found, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Being a bit
there
choppy.
was a little glitch, but we're good.
There we go. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Cool. All right, let's go. Yeah, so the state of the dating industry. Listen, I work in it. I've got a lot of amazing friends, but I've got a lot of amazing mentors in it. So I feel pretty comfortable talking a little bit about it, but by no means am I an expert, and I don't want to disregard anyone. There's a lot of amazing people in this industry from different points of view as me, right? Now, what I've found is that you have the kind of mainstream. So the mainstream narrative is this idea of just be yourself, just buy nice clothes, just buy a nice fragrance, and it's just this kind of commercial
Yeah.
thing. But if you buy this suit, whatever, you'll get results, which is rubbish. Basically, if someone's trying to tell you that if you buy this suit, you'll become incredibly attracted to women, then I would probably listen to someone else. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the pair of jeans. You got to wear the right pair of jeans, right? Just kidding.
But that doesn't mean work on your style, but work on your style for you. Work on your style because you like to present yourself in a certain way, not because you think it's going to have some magical result with women, right? So style is amazing, but do it for you, not for someone else. The other kind of tangent people sometimes fall down is that this super red pill, super idea that women are perhaps just biological, that if you do A plus B, you'll get C. But if you say a certain thing, if you do a certain thing, you'll get a certain result. But if you do this routine or you do this, that you're going to get the exact same result every time. And it relies on perhaps low self-esteem, using manipulation to get results. Okay? And people get results this way. Unfortunately, I haven't found people who get results this way living the best lives with great relationships, right? Because at the end of the day, what is dating for? It's meant to have great long-term relationships, whether that's casual, monogamous, whatever you want, right? There's no judgment there, but it should be something positive that lifts you both up, that allows you to come into the world and give better, to rejuvenate yourself and to hopefully be a better person, right? It's not about having some result or one night stand, right? If you're kind of playing for those metrics, then I would recommend meditation, because there's probably a little bit of insecurity and fear of trying to use certain things such as one night stands or this idea of lay counting to give yourself external validation, right? So these people who fall into this super red pill, super, you might call them misogynistic, whatever you want to call it, What I've found is it usually comes from a little bit of manipulation, usually only really works on women who are very low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And this can be quite negative. It can lead to lots of toxic relationships. There's an amazing book, I've completely forgotten the name, but it talks all about how if you're a narcissistic personality, you'll be very attracted to someone who's people pleasing and the opposite as well. And it's because both a narcissistic personality and someone who is very people pleasing, and there's degrees of being narcissistic and degrees of being people pleasing, come from when they were younger, they didn't get maybe the love they needed. So there's people who overcompensates and the narcissist undercompensates, and then you get this kind of polarity where you have these kind of toxic relationships. And when you use some of this stuff, you can fall into that trap a little bit, right? However, recently, not recently, but for me, I've been blessed to be surrounded by amazing mentors who teach a different way, where it's much more about developing yourself. It's not about the mainstream narrative of being yourself and buying right jeans or whatever it is. It's not the red pill narrative that you can do A plus B to get C, or you can manipulate, or you can use some certain tricks to get results. Instead, it's about truly working on yourself, truly working on yourself. So you are like, if you imagine yourself as a product, you are an amazing product that you would be comfortable and you would wish someone would, you know, buy, because it would be an amazing investment for them if you want to view it like that. But instead, you work on yourself. You do things like we talk about shadow work. You do things such as meditation, and then you go out and you be extremely authentic. But it's coming from a place of being grounded, of being confident, and of being truly masculine.
Yeah.
You know, my mentor, he talks about this all the time, the idea of feminine and masculine energy. When you have truly feminine women, and this can be, you know, guys can be feminine, women can be masculine. So for the sake of argument, let's just use women as feminine and men as masculine, right? So when you have very feminine women, they're very attracted to masculine men, but not masculine men in the sense of guys who are assholes and super tough, or whatever. But
The
guys,
Chads.
yeah, exactly. But true masculinity, and if you want to dive deeper into this, I recommend a book called Way of Superior Man, which talks about this in depth. True masculinity is all about being unreactive,
I
being
just
conscious.
downloaded that one.
Yeah, it's amazing, dude. It's amazing. And it talks about how, if you think about it, you know, when you think about feminine energy, you might think of Mother Nature, which is always changing. You know, you have the season. Same with women. You know, their emotions will change perhaps more than men, especially more feminine women. Their emotions will change more and more. And it's a beautiful thing to witness, an amazing thing, very attractive. But their emotions do change more and more. Then men, who are very masculine, it's more about stoic. They're unreactive. And you're able to give space for a girl to be in her feminine, right? This is the most beautiful thing, is when you give space so you can be that almost pillar of strength, or whatever you want to call it, pillar of masculinity, of unreactiveness, where you can give her space to be that ever-changing flow. You know, you often hear women described as a flow and men described as that kind of pillar, that stoicism. And when that's done in a healthy way, when it's coming from pure love, when you're trying to give her space to be, you know, that amazing feminine spirit that she can be that feminine energy, where she can really, you know, have no holds bar, where she can like be with you and know that you're going to be there, you're going to be grounded, you're going to be unreactive, you're not going to be insecure about certain things, you're not going to be worried or anxious about certain things, and you're going to be able to hold the space for her. Then if you can communicate that on a sub level, which is only really communicated through things such as meditation, through being present, and through being in that state, then you'll find much more success with amazing women. And it's not just insecure women that you're manipulating. Instead, it's women that you're really able to connect with on a high level, who are developing themselves as you develop as well.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. You've, I'm impressed of the depth that you have at such an early age, to be able to get where you're at. And I know I see nothing but good things for you in the coming future. And I'm glad that we've connected. And I'm looking forward to, just, if anything, like I said earlier, I'm going to add you to my networks, and if anything that I can provide to help you out with what I have. Because Edward, you just blew my mind today, right now, in this moment that we had a chance to chat. One thing I just want to throw in for those who are watching, same, when people, especially guys, when they come up to me and they've always asked, for advice, and like, how do I get well, of course, I was like, hey, I want to start dating. Like, all right, cool. What do you want to start? And then they always have someone in mind. They always have like one particular girl that they like, and they're like, how do I get this girl to like me? And I look at them, and I'm like, well, let me ask you this: do you even like yourself? And most of them, they're young. They don't know how to answer that question. Like, because if you don't like yourself, why are you going to try to give that charge to someone else? How do you expect someone else to like you if you can't even like yourself? Like, my very first advice to them is become the person that you want to be around. Love who you are,
Yeah,
add value, and hone in the weirdness of you, or the things that make you unique, make you different. Shine those things. Maybe you have a mole there, just whatever is different, unique, use it, love it, become someone who did honestly, and not in a narcissistic or egocentric way, but just in a way that, like, I'm a baller and I like this. It gives you that confidence. Of course, one of the things I say people, the first way to build confidence, the easiest, fastest way to build confidence is just start working out. Start
yeah,
becoming a stronger version of yourself, the fitter version of yourself. Because if you feel confident and look good in whatever you're wearing, and you can participate in life physically enough to participate in life, and just be able to eat whatever you want without feeling guilty, then that's already in and of itself gives you a confidence over a majority of lads. And then we'll think about this girl. We'll figure out whether she's the right one for you. But for now, just love who you are first.
yeah, dude. That's so true, man.
All right. I know you have stuff coming up, so I don't want to take too much more of your time, but let's get the important questions that I love to ask every guest that I have. First question, what disciplines besides meditation, or unless you no, actually, if that's what you need to say, go ahead and say, what disciplines or habits have become canon in your everyday?
Amazing question, man. And just for reference, I'm actually really good for time, so we can keep this as long as
Okay,
you
cool. I mean, I can stream up to 4 hours.
yeah, dude.
I
As
won't
long as
do that though to
as long as
you.
we're finished by 5 my time, which is an hour, we're good, man. We're good.
Oh, that's right. We started a little earlier today
Yeah,
because
we got some time. But yeah, let's get back to the question. Disciplines and habits, dude. For me, like you said, working out, killer. So essential. And an amazing quote from a friend of mine. He would always say, "How you do one thing is how you do everything." Someone who shows up to the gym 5, 6, 4 days a week, doesn't matter how long you go, as long as you're consistent. I usually stick to at least 4 or above. Um, is going to be have that discipline to do the same with business, to do the same with going out and meeting women, to do the same with meditation. And when you ask me this question, the biggest thing that comes up to me isn't just habits, but consistently. Because what I found to get results with anything is putting in the same thing every single week for a long period of time, and you get results. Like, there's no questions asked, not some strategy, not some special technique. It's consistency over a long period of time that gets you results. And for me, especially when it comes to the idea of meeting women, and for guys who want to push themselves with dating, it's going to be about putting in that experience of approaching. Now, this doesn't mean you have to machine gun approach. You can do that at the start when there's that initial fear of going out, putting yourself in those situations until fear has kind of gone a little bit. But instead, approaching out of inspiration and maybe having a minimum that you might do every week. But approaching out of inspiration, whenever you see, there's a beautiful girl and you feel called to do it, go up and say yes. Go up and say yes. Go up and say hey, whatever it is, right? Putting that as a habit every single week, even if it's only 5 approaches, you see 5 beautiful women you want to say hi. How many more people are you meeting every single month? You're meeting, 20 new women every month? Maybe it doesn't go about well with all of them and you only connect with 2 of them. That's still 2 more people every single month. Suddenly you've got 24 new amazing women in your life every single year, right? Approaching is huge. It's just putting yourself out there. But it's not just huge based on results or meeting new people. It's huge based on a personal development. If you can go up and spark some sort of attraction or conversation with a beautiful girl that you want to talk to in the daytime or at a club or at a bar, when you're not drunk or on drugs and you're completely sober. So first of all, do it completely sober. That's the only rule you have to adhere to. Then talking to anyone in any other situation is going to feel easy because, like, I've done these kind of anxious, fearful things and I was good. I'm okay. That anxiety will
I'm
come to
still alive.
Yeah, exactly. You end up flirting with that fear and realizing that it's okay. It's almost a good way to follow. Fear isn't that bad. It's only when you resist it that it becomes an issue. So the biggest habit for me is working out, obviously, meditation, huge. We've touched on that a lot, so I don't need to go even deeper into it. And then approaching, putting yourself in those situations, not doing it out of guilt. So a lot of guys, they'll, get into the machine gun thing where they have to do 100, 200 approaches each week. And then what happens is they end up just feeling guilty if they don't approach any girl who looks somewhat okay.
Yeah.
Instead, approach out with inspiration. If you're feeling that initial fear at the start, put yourself in those situations a little bit more. Maybe you do like 25, 30 approaches for a few weeks, maybe even a month. And then you maybe bring it down to just when you're truly inspired. But putting that kind of habit into your life, you'll start to meet so many more people. You'll become that social guy. Your network will get huge because not even when you meet girls, but who do guys want to be around? They want to be around with other guys who know all the girls. And
Yes.
suddenly you're like, oh yeah, I'll bring the girls to the party or whatever it is. And you become that guy, which instantly creates a lot of value when it comes to, it could be business, it could be if you're at school, university, or whatever it is. And it just enriches your life so much. But also there's that mental aspect where if you can go past that fear of doing something a tad socially unconventional, stopping a girl in the middle of the street and saying hi and doing it from a completely authentic place, making sure she's comfortable, making sure that it's calibrated and done from a pure place, not to make anyone comfortable, not to take something, but to actually give value, maybe starting with a compliment, whatever it is, then you can do anything else. And anything else will seem easy because you've flirted with that fear and you've become used to it. That's definitely the biggest discipline that I would install. If you're not already working out, do that, but definitely do the approaching and meditation as well.
That is awesome. No approach. That's good. I right now you just reminded me of a time at university. I became the most popular guy at my university simply because I used the same pickup line on everyone. I call it a pickup line, but it's not really a pickup line. But it's just I noticed that depending on the culture I'm in a university. Of course, there's new students. I'm a new student. There's a good chance other people are new students. But also the confidence, it showed confidence in myself. But I would go up to a random guy or girl and I would say, hey, have you met me yet? And I already knew subconsciously they hadn't. And like, oh no, I haven't met you yet. And I would be like, oh, I am so sorry. Well, my name is Josafat Emiliano, and you are. And then at that point, just it breaks the ice. It just and then we could talk about anything from puppies to what you're studying to what's your favorite foods and just some kind of light-hearted conversation with anyone and everyone. But I was the same with everyone. So even though whenever it was a girl that I was interested in, or not, or just a professor or whatever that I want to learn more from, they didn't. I didn't come off as I am trying to get something from you. No, I was just open, approachable, and I want to just build a conversation or just open up a conversation. Now at that point, that's when I realized, all right, mentally, I'll put them in this category. Someone I want to pursue later on for certain things, or I'll put them in this category. Someone who's cool to be around with whenever it's like a big social gathering, but not necessarily someone that I'm gonna spend time all the time with or grow with depth with. But basically that's what it was. It was just going up to everyone, and it got to the point where like, my last year they wanted to nominate me class president by default just because everyone knew me. But but at that point I even kind of backed out last minute. Like, well, I realized that I can graduate early by taking extra courses during the summer, and I want to graduate early from uni just to save money.
Mm.
But no, that is key. You could talk a big game, you could do all the work, you could pour in the value, you can become as confident as you want, but until you start applying and going forward and talking, you know what? I'm just gonna throw this out, guys or girls. Just because you're approaching them doesn't mean that you're gonna date them. Right now, just get to the point where you just open conversation. There's people who
Yeah.
are dying to have conversations.
Yeah.
There's people who just want to have a hello or someone acknowledge them that they exist because they've been stuck in their homes and right now they're starting to come
Exactly.
out or whatever. And they just want someone to say, hey, you exist. I acknowledge you. Be that to them at least. Don't go with that what's the word? Don't go in with that just that mindset or that the word just escaped me, but with a,
Seeking results kind
I
of thing.
guess seeking results is a good way, but don't go in with agenda. Don't go in with that agenda that I got to
Yeah,
get the number, I got to get the date. No, go and just like let it just for them. Let them express themselves. And if they reject you, cool. It's not you. It's them. It's not me. It's you. Situation. All right. Edward, next question. And you kind of already gave in some more, but in actually, hold on. We got a little more time. You said something that is I love that you said this, that if you're consistent, you that's what's going to give you the results. Because I'm a big advocate for don't seek the motivation, seek the discipline.
mm,
Motivation is the
yeah,
sexy, but it's temporary. The motivation is not the sexy, but it will get you there. If you're
yeah,
faithful to the process, if you stick to doing the repetitive towards that goal, um, in a lot of my talks, I mean, towards that goal, you'll get there. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but eventually you'll get there. But even if you don't get there, if you're faithful every day, at the end of the year, you're going to be way far ahead of where you were at earlier today,
yeah.
or earlier in the year. Um, and when I learned this was in working out, because I used to play American football back in college or in university, and I it's all about building weights just to get big and strong to execute the game. But afterwards, I didn't want that lifestyle of having to hit the gym and killing 3 hours at the gym to be strong. And but I wanted to be fit. I wanted to be able to participate in life. Anyway, I've done many, many different things. And of course, eventually through a depression, because I unfortunately got caught up in the oneness craze. And when that oneness broke my heart, I slipped into depression. I slipped into abusive eating and I gained a lot of weight.
Mm,
And so moving back to the States, and then moving here to Nashville, eventually through discipline, little by little, been able to, I'm not quite at college weight yet, but I'm getting there. But one thing that I realized, and I'm meeting many people, I had a friend who his dad was a janitor at a high school. And every day his main thing was clean. And this high school had like, I don't know, it seemed like the whole wall was just not mirrors, windows. And the majority of his day was cleaning those windows day after day after day after day because they would get messy, especially in West Texas where it's just dusty.
yeah.
Uh, but this man, I don't know, 30, 40 years as a janitor at this school, when you would shake his hand, he had like a death grip. It's almost like he was like a gymnast kind of guy. I don't know if you ever had the pleasure of meeting gymnasts,
Mm,
but they have like the strongest hands. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how did this happen? And his son just kind of laughed. He goes, it's because my dad every day he's doing the squirting motion, cleaning, using the squirt gun, and that little motion, after 30 years of doing it, had given him such a ability to have a strong grip, and that got me thinking like faithfulness to something you know how to do. And then I have a few friends that are like farm hands, just throwing hay around and such. And when you give those guys hugs, they're just stout. They're just solid dudes, and they don't go out of their way to go to the gym. They just do the same repetitive work every day, and their body adjusted and became adapted to the stresses around them so that they can perform better. And so my mindset is, I don't have to go to the gym and kill myself for 2 3 hours. If I have a routine that I'm comfortable with that I can do at my home, let's just say 10 push-ups. That's the what I tell everyone. 10 push-ups. If you do it today, 10 push-ups, you won't feel anything. You won't be like whatever. But at the end of the year, if you were faithful every day to do 10 push-ups every day, at the end of the year, you would have done 3,650 push-ups. That's bound to affect your body somehow.
Yeah. So true. So true.
Oh, this ring just hit the table. All right. So anyway, I thank you for letting me say that. You inspire me, my man. You inspire me to share value. The next question: what what's what's the one bit of advice that my audience can take now and start running with, so that they can become the rock star of tomorrow?
Yeah, dude. That's a really good question. Part of me wants to just talk about what you just said about consistency, and I will talk about it a little bit.
Do it.
I'll hammer home with something else as well. When it comes to consistency, you would just hammer it home, especially if you do 10 push-ups each day, you're going to get results over that year. I used to think, and you can see this with the way marketing is, with the way what sells, everyone wants something quick. You
Yeah.
know, abs in 10 minutes, what is it? Make money online in an hour, whatever it is, right? But building true value, whether that's value in yourself as a person who's social and able to build amazing relationships with women, guys, whoever, whether it's building a business, whether it's building your body, it takes time, it takes consistency, and it's not some technique or strategy that's going to get you there. It's doing what you can every single week, calibrating every single week. Maybe you did that a little bit wrong there, you calibrate a little bit, did that a bit wrong there, calibrate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what program you get, what course you get, it's just about that calibration every single week, consistency every week. One of the second things that I would definitely recommend, and this has been what's given me so much value, is mentorship. I've got at least, I've had multiple mentors in my life, but I've got at least two mentors right now. One of them in business, and one of them in meditation and dating. And those have been huge because they'll keep you accountable. They'll allow you to calibrate so they know where you fucked up because they've been there themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the most important part of that is you've got a roadmap for where you're going, right? The biggest part we talked about consistency, the hardest part of being consistent is not knowing where you're going. For example, if I told someone that you get out of bed at 8 a.m. every morning and you work for 5 to 6 hours, but if you do that, I guarantee, and I'll pay you myself, you'll get $10,000 a month. Most people would do it. I'd say majority of people who weren't doing that already would do it. However, if I tell you to wake up at 8 a.m. every day and do 6 hours of work, and you might get results, you might not, you're probably not going to do it. You probably do a week or two and then you'll get bored or you'll give up or whatever, right? If you know you're going to get results, you would do it. That's why mentorship is so huge. It's been so amazing for me because I can see people who are ahead of me, who have been exactly where I was, who have done exactly what I'm doing. And I know that if I'm consistent, and if I'm consistent over a long period of time and keep that discipline, get discipline, not motivation, not inspiration, keep that discipline over a long period of time, I will get that. Whether that's with dating, meditation, whether that's with business, whether that's with fitness, all those three areas of my life have come about because I've had people ahead of me, whether it was when I first started fitness and I was like 12 or 13. I was playing ice hockey at the time and I had like a fitness coach for our team and he was like absolutely ripped. And I'm a smaller guy, so this guy was like around my height, obviously the height I am now. He was a smaller guy, so I resonated a lot with him. And I would just work out and I would do everything he told me. And then suddenly, 6 months later to a year later, I had a really good body that I was proud of. Same thing when it came to dating. I had the right mentors who showed me that if I did put myself there on an approach, I would slowly get better, slowly get better, slowly get better. If I did do the right meditations, if I did certain things, but I would get better and better results. Same thing with business. Now that I'm doing more recently, but I've got an amazing coach who shows me that if I do certain things every single day, but if I commit to certain practices, if I commit to getting a little bit better, 1%, 5% better every single day, I will see results. I think consistency plus mentorship has been the most important, most valuable thing for me getting results.
Wow. Rockstar gold, y'all. Man, that's good stuff. No, you know what? That's a good place to deposit because eventually I'm going to start a segment called Conversations with a Rockstar when I'm going to start bringing my past guests to do panels and such. But no, Edward, this has been a true delight for me to get to know you, even though just by random we met on, I think it's Instagram, where we just kind of reached
Yeah,
out and like, you know what? I started checking out your stuff. I started checking out your videos and I'm like, okay, I would like to. And what caught my attention, not so much the dating part, but what caught my attention was the mental strength, because that's one of the aspects that I work on. But no, even that, it's all tied in. And even with business, with creating a network, with meeting other people, it starts off with your I call it the inner game. If your inner game is good, if your inner game is healthy, then you are no longer reactional. You're no longer having to manipulate other people. You can just be yourself. And no matter how they treat you, you can be yourself and choose to either remain or move on because you're now at an abundance mindset. You respect yourself
Yeah.
enough. But no, thank you for your time. Last question to end the stream. And the way I like to word it is if you want to be found, how can my guest or how can my audience find you?
Yeah, so if you want to check out any content I've got, or potentially want to work together, that'd be amazing. I have Instagram and Facebook and YouTube as well. The main one, but if you do DM me on Instagram, which is Edward_Daniels_. Also, if you follow Jose, that's how you say your name, isn't it?
Oh, Josafat?
Josafat. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to screw that up. If you follow Josafat, you and just go into his following, you'll probably see me as well. So if you want to find me that way, that's totally cool. Facebook is just Edward Daniels, and YouTube is just Edward Daniels. And feel free to DM to reach out. If you have any problems, we can go through it on a call, or we can just go through it in Messenger, whatever's easiest. But yeah, that's the best way to find me. And yeah, it'd be amazing to hear from any of you.
I have two Instagrams now. The one for Hey Rockstar where I just promote the show, and then my personal one. But for sure on the Hey Rockstar, yes, I'm following you on my personal one. But on the Hey Rockstar, my goal is to only follow people who have been my guests. So that way, if people want to get on that one, they can go to the guest, and that way it keeps it easier, it keeps it more concise.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And also, if my guests want to collab and meet each other from that same platform, they can just link out and reach out to everyone. But basically, yeah, that. You know what? We'll talk a little bit after this show ends. But let's go ahead and just do the thing. I'm going to keep you on as I do the closing statements to this. Everyone, thank you for tuning in this week. I know that we just gave you so much information. We gave you so much to pour into your lives to start becoming a person of value, become the rock star of your industry. That's the whole purpose of this stream. I want you guys to take and run with this. So just thank you for coming. Miguel, where's Miguel? Oh, he's over there this time. Unfortunately, we haven't started his thing on TikTok, but it's going to happen. But anyway, before taking any more of the time, this has been just valuable stuff. Hey Rockstar is associated with Low Budget Productions. Low Budget Productions, if you are listening on Instagram or Facebook, Low Budget Productions can be found on those platforms. Go and follow them. It's a place where they have podcasters. They have some value for you guys, entertainment for you guys. And if you are interested in becoming a podcaster and don't know where to start, reach out to them. We are constantly looking for people to join hands and walk with them to launch off in the podcast, to share your story, tell everyone what you're about. But other than that, this has been Hey Rockstar. Oh, sorry. This has been Hey Rockstar, episode 33, an interview with a rock star featuring Edward Daniels, a conscious dating coach, a mental strength coach, dating relationship coach, and just actually, I'm gonna change it up. You are a dating and relationship mentor. For those of you who are looking for mentorship, great guy. He's gonna go great places. I'm glad that he's now part of the Rockstar Network. So once again, everyone who tuned in live from Nashville, Tennessee, and from the UK. I'm not gonna say, I forgot what town it was. Just around London area, because that's where everyone knows. Thank you for letting us into your homes today. Thank you for letting us into your cars today. But most importantly, thank you for letting us into your hearts. So until next time, much love and many blessings.